Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Crush Your Mountain. I am the Hankster OG. If you notice, my motto is don't just climb your mountain, crush through it. And today, I am so thrilled and happy to have with me an amazing feminine leadership coach. Her name is Randa Ali. We had the privilege of working together and meeting one another in a coaching course that's held over there by Theron King T. Washington. But Rhonda is a feminine leadership coach. She's helping women worldwide to break free from stress and emotional challenges, emotional chaos, by building their emotional resilience as well as tapping into their feminine essence to lead their lives with feminine power. And we've got to explore that because I'll tell you something, men and women have different ways of approaching life and different perspectives, but our energies balance out a certain way. We're going to explore that with Randa Ali today. I'm so thankful that she took the time all the way in Lebanon to talk to us. So Randa Ali, Maharba, Kifa Halek, welcome to Crush Your Mountain.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much for this beautiful introduction, and thank you for the opportunity for me to meet with your audience and to speak to them. Hopefully, I will be able to inspire them at some level. Thank you so much.
Well, it is certainly a pleasure to have you with us today. I wanted to ask you this. Now, you help help women tap into their feminine essence. Please, can you help us to understand, number one, what is that opposed to masculine essence? And then why is it so vital and important?
All right, that's a beautiful question. Thank you for asking it. And first off, I want to start by saying that we all have both masculine and feminine energy, men and women, but these energies express differently for us. And of course, men who identify as, being in their masculine, they have their masculine energy more expressive than their feminine energy. And that is how, it's supposed to be. Um, Whereas for women, our feminine energy expresses more than our masculine energy, but we need to use both. We need to bring both into a state of balance. But for us women, this is um, to me, I believe that is very important. Is that because there's a lot of distortion around the idea of what femininity is in the society. So there's a lot of cultural programming and societal conditioning around the idea that we're told that being feminine means being maybe sexy, maybe sexually appealing to the man, or it means that I have to be obedient, complacent, silent. I say nothing. I only, open my mouth to say yes. I'm not supposed to say no. Um, and femininity is weakness. It is the emotional chaos. And so my passion really in my mission is about like removing all of these distorted ideas around what femininity truly is for us women, so that we're able to start tapping into our unique feminine essence, because I truly believe that the world needs us women to tap into our unique feminine essence and to share it with the world, just as it needs men to tap into their masculine essence and to share that with the world as well. And so this is a process that requires healing for us to get to that point, and then start expressing the truth of who we are.
Wow. So how do you define that feminine essence, that feminine mystique, if you will?
Yeah. I see it as a woman's energetic signature, something that is unique to every woman. Although feminine energy has a set of general qualities, so as masculine energy, it has a set of general qualities that we can see, for example, in the functions of the right and the left hemisphere of our brain.
Mm.
And so um, But how we choose to express these, like I like to call them superpowers, is different for every woman. And here is, at this point, it comes to the point where we need to tap to really discover what our purpose is, what our mission is, and this is usually um, the the container through which I help women express their unique feminine essence. It's really that their energetic signature that is unique for each and every woman.
That is a powerful thing, powerful statement. And I appreciate how you mentioned that there's that left brain, right brain connection. So if we were to discuss that, how would you define men as operating? Which side of the brain?
Okay, so we use both sides of our brain. But when we look at, like the functions of the right hemisphere and the functions of the left hemisphere, that is why the right brain is called the feminine brain, and the masculine one is the left brain, because the right hemisphere is responsible for processes such as art, intuition, connection, empathy. These are, some of our feminine superpowers, whereas also something that is a quality of feminine energy is holistic thinking, inclusion. Whereas for the masculine brain, it's about planning, strategies, like putting steps to get to a one goal, one certain definite result. It is goal oriented. It's like I like to call it, like it's an energy that moves in a straight line towards one definite goal and result. But we all use um, both these parts of our brains. But of course, like in terms of our energy, it's different for every man and every woman. But I always say, we express, as women, we express more of our feminine energy than we do of our masculine energy, and the opposite is true for men.
That's amazing. Again, now how would a man then tap into the intuitive side? Because as you said, we have both. So how do we tap into the intuitive side of things?
Okay. So when it comes to our intuition, Henry, we've been told by culture that this is something woo-woo. This is something that, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a hunch or a gut feeling. That is the masculine brain that loves to see things that are tangible. Whenever something can be seen, can be calculated, can be measured in a certain way, then it exists for the masculine brain. But when it comes to our intuition, this is why sometimes we have that kind of resistance to it. But now science has studied intuition, and it has categorized intuition into three different categories. It's really all about the intelligence of our hearts, and it's been discovered that the heart has a neural network that is by far more developed and more complex than that of the brain, and that the heart sends signals to the brain 4 times as often as it receives these signals. And so science says that intuition is really the intelligence of our hearts. It's a higher level of intelligence. It is um, an intelligence that really surpasses all of the mental processes that go with it inside of our brains. But for a man to be able to lean into that, he has to make peace with his inner feminine. He has to make peace with his feminine energy and realize that it has its own sets of power, and he can use it for his own good and for the good of the whole world.
That's an incredible, powerful statement. So many things you touched on there, because I appreciated the fact that, yes, the heart is being recognized as having such a neural network within itself that connects to the brain. I'm sure you're familiar with the Heart Math Institute and its work that's been done there. Uh, you know, but unfortunately, we have to say that the relationship between the sexes male and female has not been great as far as the world is concerned. Myself, I come from a Judeo-Christian background. I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I study the Bible extensively, and if we just were to trace it back to the Garden of Eden, as it were, it is said that the poor relationship began there, with Adam blaming Eve for his lack of leadership. You know, and because that's essentially what the Bible says. Adam knew better, and he showed a lack of leadership. But since then, the relationship historically has been so bad because women have been so mistreated and maltreated and undervalued in their in their contribution. You see, it's amazing. So my question to you is, number one, your journey to becoming a feminine leadership coach, and the mountain that you had to crush, the personal challenges you dealt with in order to get there.
Yes,
That was
thank
about.
you for the question, Henry. That was back in 2014. Um, I was in an abusive relationship for, I guess, like 6 months.
Mm,
And that ended. Right after that ended, I was feeling lost. I was feeling like broken. I was feeling devastated, really, because even at that point, I was not aware that this is an abusive relationship. And I was really heartbroken. And then within, I guess, 2 weeks from that breakup, I lost my job. And at that time, what I would remember is that all of the time I would be in a very dark place. I was doubting myself, doubting my existence, doubting my capability or ability to contribute to this world. And then, there were so many whys. Why me? Why did this has to happen? What did I do wrong? Why did I deserve this? And so it's normal that when we go through these challenges, we start asking ourselves these questions. But the good thing is that I allowed these questions to lead me. And so that is when I started my own journey, thinking I started that journey of healing, thinking that there was something wrong with me, because culture always tells me that the emotional labor in a relationship is on me as a woman. If something isn't going well in a relationship, then I must have done something wrong. Then I must be not enough for that man. Then there must be something wrong with me that I have to work out. And so that is where I started. I know I started the wrong way, asking the wrong questions, but then that led me to start working on myself. And on that journey, I started discovering that, well, that was a very abusive relationship that was taking me away from myself. In that relationship, I was pushed to become something that I'm not. I was rejected for all that I am, and I was even, responding to that. I was changing myself so that I could be the woman that this man wanted. But then I could not. I could. No one can be someone that they are not. And so, I'm lucky that did not work out. And so when I started healing from that, um, I started learning more about emotional resilience, because that is what saved me, because my emotions at that point were total chaos. I would be feeling frustrated and sad and overwhelmed, and I would feel like I'm a failure. And so all of these inner negative beliefs about myself were playing out in all sorts of negative thoughts and then negative emotions. So I had to learn how to manage that in an intelligent way. This led me to learn more about emotional resilience, I started studying for my certification in May of 2017. I studied with um, Heart Math Institute in the States. I got my certificate in emotional resilience. But then also being half Brazilian, this part of the Brazilian culture um, planted in me some of the um, concepts about the divine feminine, about feminine empowerment, about what it means to express that feminine energy. And so I started digging deeper into that. I wanted to like know more. What is this feminine energy? What does the femininity mean? Why does culture tells me that being feminine I have to be um, like maybe super thin or maybe very appealing or very naive maybe. And so that was also part of my discovery that led me later into becoming a feminine leadership coach.
An amazing story. And the interesting thing is being part Brazilian. Now, the United States has a certain way of presenting Brazil. You see,
Mhm.
it brought a tear to my eye. I have to wipe the tear away. But I have, and so I have to ask this. So, how does tapping into the femininity essence? How does that dispel the commercialization of Brazilian femininity and sexuality? Because that's pretty much how things are presented here. They have the different surgical procedures associated with Brazil, and they have all of that, but they don't understand. They don't see the favelas. They don't see the challenges that's happening day to day there. They don't see the way the Amazon is being destroyed and depleted, and all of that taps into the feminine part of intuitive connection to nature. So how does your work dispel those things?
Yes, thank you for asking this question. Um, like I said, first, it's very important for me that I remove all of these layers that have been laid on the concept of femininity that are not of the essence of femininity. I like to say that the patriarchal definition of femininity, that is what I'm fighting against in my work. Um, and so it's very important that I raise awareness and tell women that no, you don't have to be silent. You don't have to, be weak and allow others to cross your boundaries. Being feminine has nothing to do with your size or the size of your lips, or if you have done plastic surgeries. It has nothing to do with how you look. And so um, I know that, culture is like societal conditioning is filled with all of the prejudice against so many, other cultures in the world. But first, I have to start, raising awareness around the idea that what we have been seeing as femininity, that is not of the essence of femininity. But also, it's very important for me, Henry, to not use the strategy of the patriarchy, because what the patriarchy has done is that it brought us this box calling it femininity, and it's telling us you got to fit into that box, that we have defined femininity on your behalf. You don't have to worry about that. It's all set up for you. You just fit into that box. But then in fighting that, I cannot tell women, oh no, let's not use that box. I got you another box. Here's what my definition of femininity is, and now you try to fit into that. That's not how I think it should be done. I don't think it's a smart way to go about it, because um, if I have experienced it, I have seen it with the clients that I have worked with, that each and every woman has her unique feminine essence that the world needs her to share so that she can bring more healing and balance into the world. And so my mission is about empowering her to express that, to redefine femininity on her own terms, to come up with her own unique expression of what femininity looks like, and just break all ceilings and all of these boxes, to say no to the boxes.
Wow. So I have to then ask, how do you help your clients to heal?
Well, I help them through my one-on-one coaching program. That's a 3-month long coaching program. Basically, we start with removing all of the layers of societal conditioning, but also the upbringing and what limiting beliefs have we received from our upbringing, and then replacing those um, with more empowering beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I teach them science-based tools and techniques that build their emotional resilience, that really heal their nervous system and expand their nervous system's capacity to support them in the way they show up in life, in their work, in their business. And then also we go into healing and balancing masculine and feminine energies, but mostly how to activate the feminine energy and allow it to express in really everything that we do. And so my program is really a flavorful blend of science-based tools and techniques that I like to call the masculine part of my program, and then the feminine energy techniques that are, the feminine, of course, part of my program.
See, now you just said the masculine and feminine, and I'm tapping into that feminine part by saying you said it's a flavorful blend, and I'm thinking, ooh, food, cooking. See, I like to cook. I don't know if that's masculine or feminine or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, when you're in the flow, when you're in your creativity, that's definitely feminine. Yeah, when also when you're embodied, when you are in your body, using your hands requires you that you are in your body and you're in creative flow. That is being in your feminine, of course.
But my question then would be, when it comes to the the physical skills, blacksmithing, working with earthenware, being a chiseler, a sculptor, being a welder. Would those things fall into the feminine essence, femininity?
The action itself is the masculine part of the work, because you could be coming up with all of these ideas, and then if you're not using your hands to create that work, then the action itself is absent from the equation. So the action is the masculine part. You cannot categorize a certain career as being masculine or being feminine, but when even that blacksmith is coming up with his masterpiece, or the painter, the sculptor, they're coming with their masterpiece, they're using both of their energies. The feminine energy is where they get their creativity, their channeling basically. They are in that state of flow. It requires that they lean into their feminine energy, but the masculine, it's actually the union of both that creates something on the outside in the physical world.
Wow. So then, dealing with that, I have to ask you this other question. When it came to working with your clients, what would be the most challenging client that you've helped in her journey?
Well, I guess every client is different. It's always something new that I learn about, with my clients. It's that's why my program is really customized. It's not a one size fits all, but there's always a part of the change process where the brain is in resistance. Change is not something that the brain handles very well. The brain, freaks out in the face of change. So whenever I truly believe that, like, one of the hardest moments is when part of our ego identifies with our story. When, my ego is, if my ego was identified with, being the victim of that abusive relationship, then dealing with that identification, this is going to be a little bit difficult, because when you're pushing the ego to detach from the identification, then that is like the death for the ego, and that is really, really, really difficult. Like the ego is going to fight that, and so I guess this is one of the most difficult part of the journey. It happens in different levels in different clients, but usually this is the part that requires a lot of understanding on my part, realizing that this is the resistance, this is, how the brain is working in the nervous system, and this is part of my work, is to inform my client. I share with them a lot of the science behind what I teach, so that they can have a better understanding of their own situation. And this allows them to have more compassion, because when you start understanding that this is how your brain works, this is how your nervous system works, you'll know that I'm normal for going through this. There's nothing wrong with me. And so you judge yourself less, you criticize yourself less, you have really more compassion towards yourself.
Would you say women criticize themselves more than men?
Oh, of course, definitely. Yeah, the culture has taught us to do that. Absolutely. And even now, like, if we go on social media and we're checking out the Kardashians' posts or photos, then I can easily start criticizing myself if I'm still in that place where I'm buying into all of that societal conditioning.
Well, is it possible that men are just as critical, but just not as open or vocal about it?
Well, that is definitely possible, because our upbringing also um, creates a lot of these limiting beliefs that push us to doubt ourselves, to criticize and judge ourselves. And um, I truly believe that men are a victim of the patriarchy just as women are, despite the fact that it has served them at some level. Yet men are pushed to alienate themselves from their emotions. They're uh, practically pushed to cause a trauma inside their nervous system, because alienating yourself from your emotions, this is what trauma is about. And so, and we tell a man that, to be considered a man, he has to have a Ferrari or a big fat bank account or a six pack, or we also place these limitations on men, and it pushes them, of course, to yeah, criticize and judge themselves as well.
I'm probably in the six pack category. Yeah,
Oh, good.
I'm trying to get one. You know, unfortunately, the only six pack I wind up really getting is like the one at Walmart. But yeah,
Oh,
but no, but yeah, I really value what you're bringing to the field and the value that you're bringing to both women and men. So
thank you.
I have to ask you like one last question, because you've brought so much insight, so much intellect to this program. So my last question for you is, Randa Ali, what does it mean to you to crush your mountain?
That's a beautiful question. To me, crushing my mountain is really um, overcoming my limiting beliefs. Um, Being aware of the limitations that I place in my own way through my um, limiting beliefs, how my traumas manifest in my life, how I'm judging and doubting myself. And so, to me, what I have experienced in my healing journey was that um, when I had to be brutally honest with myself, face my inner demons and, crush these limiting beliefs within me, that is when I was able to create the success that I want on the outside. And so it's really about my inner mountain.
Wow. Very powerful indeed. So with that said, I want to tell everyone, if they haven't had the opportunity to get themselves a coach like Randa that can bring them to the next level, they're missing out. So thank you again for appearing on our channel. And I'll tell you again, friends, just like I normally say, you have to do your best. You have to do your best to make it in this system, in this world, in this society. But in order to do that, bear in mind, you have to tackle your own personality and the challenges and limiting beliefs that you have. So once again, don't just climb your mountain, crush through it. Randa Ali, we want to thank you once again for being with us. And again, like I said, we will see you next time.
Thank you so much, Henry. It was a pleasure, and really, you made this chat very fun.